What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from ActTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to talk about My Dead Friend Zoey. I don't actually have a friend named Zoe, so this is the name of a movie. So click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Please join me in my cult following here on YouTube, where I'm trying to expand as a blind film critic in the sea of ungodly amount of YouTube channels all about film and film criticism and people talking about movies and television and pop culture, and it's a lot. I know I'm asking you for a commitment and you've already made like 500 of them, but what's one more? Really, what's one more? Other people say they go into things blind. I actually go into things blind, like this movie, which is titled sort of in a way where you would think it might be a horror movie. Horror is a broad theme, maybe. So some things are just horrifying without being scary. So I guess there's an element of that there, but I wouldn't say that's the genre that it falls under. But it does have audio description. It's deluxe, narrated by William Michael Redmond, and I think that perhaps maybe he was hired based off of the title, and they were like, it seems like a horror movie, and then they wrote then somebody actually saw the movie and started writing. They're like, did we already hire William for this? Okay, well, we're gonna ride with it. It's actually not a horror movie. So what is My Dead Friend Zoey, and should you see it? That's what you're here for. Well, it's a film that centers around Mary, played by Sonequa Martin Green, who, always will love my Walking Dead cast members when they move into other things. But she stars here as a recently returned from Afghanistan veteran who's suffering from severe PTSD and sort of has this mandatory requirement to attend these group counseling sessions that are led by Morgan Freeman's character. And she just doesn't feel like sharing. And we keep seeing her talking with her friend, Zoe, played by Natalie Morales. And pretty early in the film, you realize that only Mary can see Zoe. So even though the title is sort of a dead giveaway to Dead Friend Zoey, there's something there that obviously we're going to have to unpack as the film moves forward. But when she's not ignoring grief counseling, she's also trying to take care of her grandfather, played by Ed Harris, who also is a veteran just of the Vietnam War, and obviously his experience is different and sort of undealt with PTSD and shell shock, or whatever. They come up with a couple different ways in an argument of calling it different things. And so you have that sort of generational difference between two veterans who both experienced war, and and why things are different for them, and why they're so similar. And thrown in the mix here for good measure is a romantic love interest played by Bagash Shambukar from Ghosts. He is here. He plays a guy that Mary meets at a graveyard who turns out to also be running this retirement home, which may come in handy because Mary's mother is thinking about putting Mary's grandfather into an assisted living type facility because he's having a little bit of trouble taking care of himself. He's falling down a little bit. His mind is starting to maybe go just a tad. He does seem very capable though, in large, but yeah, you see a couple of bumps along the way where you're like, I don't know, this is probably the beginning of it. You want to catch it. He leaves the burner on the stove and Mary catches it. So little things so you don't feel too bad about somebody trying to rip this man out of his home and throw him in, because Ed Harris plays him very capably. Uh, Ed Harris and Morgan Freeman have both already been in films this year that you probably didn't know existed. Neither one of them had audio description. Ed Harris was in Riff Raff, and Morgan Freeman was in The Comeback Trail. So both of those dropped this year. Neither one of them have audio description. Both of them are on streaming services currently. Riff Raff is now on Hulu, and Comeback Trail is now on Paramount Plus. If you're interested, if you're just dropping some knowledge here, that's what I do on this channel. Subscribe. So to talk about the audio description first, I like the description. I think it plays interestingly enough with when we can see Zoey, what Zoey's doing, sort of Mary paying attention to Zoey, and everybody's sort of like, do they notice? Do they not notice? I mean, that's sort of the gimmick of the movie, is how crazy does Mary look for having these conversations out in the open with somebody that only she can see and nobody else can see. So there are plenty of times where you sort of note that and you can see, oh yeah, so somebody else caught that, you know. But mostly the strength of the film is just in the context and the heart of the film. The director actually set out to, and I'm trying not to spoil things, but this may, anyway, he's got this big sort of ending at the end to remind people that it's based on like real people, real events, real things that happened, and just sort of a couple of details were changed, but it deals a lot with soldiers who die by suicide, and undealt with PTSD, and sort of a plea with people to get the kind of help that they need. And that's kind of the movie. It's not a horror movie. She's not a zombie. Natalie Morales is not a ghost. It's kind of played that way, but she's also just, in many ways, just like a coping mechanism. Morales has it's a good performance, but it's mostly, this is Sonequa Martin Green's movie to live and die by. She has to go through all of the stages of grief and PTSD at the same time. She's grieving the loss of, Zoey, as well as the loss of being an active duty soldier. She clearly takes being a veteran very seriously, but now her record feels somewhat tarnished by this thing. The film really does parse out what happened throughout, so you get these little tidbits along the way, and you don't really get clarity until the end of the film. It's meant to sort of give you like a, what happened? What is she so shaken up about? What's going on here? Type of feel. And it really helps to support Sonequa's performance, because we don't know what happened, because she's not talking about it. So one of my favorite scenes of the movie was a scene between Sonequa and Ed Harris where they're sitting on a boat and they're talking about PTSD, and and he starts kind of opening up about being a veteran himself. And when he came home from Vietnam, he's like, well, you came home and everybody shook your hand and you were welcomed home as a veteran. When we came home, people spat on us. He's like, I had to change out of my uniform and people still recognized me by my haircut and spat on me and called me baby killer. So he didn't get the hero's welcome that she got, the perspective. And on top of that, he had to deal with all of the shit that he went down with in Vietnam, which if you've ever watched any Vietnam movie ever, was not a fun war. It's not like we didn't have good times. So yeah, this film interestingly shows you what living with undealt with PTSD can be like, as Ed Harris is kind of extremely volatile and curmudgeonly for the duration of the film, and Sonequa has a tendency to just sort of close up and shut down, and maybe that's her future if she doesn't listen to Morgan Freeman, who is constantly trying to, but seems very resigned to the idea that Mary's never going to get the help that she needs. And or will she? You're gonna have to watch the movie and find out. So this is like a little undiscovered gem of the year. Briarcliffe released this in conjunction with Universal. Briarcliffe is one of those sort of like newer distributors that seems to be picking up films that nobody else seems to really want. They picked up The Apprentice after nobody else wanted it, which is sort of their big sort of stake. They've had a couple other films too. I shouldn't say that all of them are. They had the Jennifer Lawrence film a little while ago. It just didn't get like a major release. I don't know how you sell this to a wide variety of people without critical acclaim. This feels like something that you should try to release in and around an award season and run a campaign for, and just see what happens. And maybe it'll get buried, maybe it won't. Maybe people will see something in Sonequa Martin Green and she'll get some Indie Spirit nominations or something, and it'll bring it a little bit more of a profile. But it kind of got dumped in the early part of the year, and I just don't think that benefited the film at all. So I really like this movie a lot. I was sort of enamored with it because I really didn't know anything about it. I just went in and which I do for like everything, honestly. I have a YouTube channel. I talk about movies and audio description. I never know what I'm watching. So in large part, I never know what I'm watching. But the expectation was like anything. And I think I kind of did expect a different kind of film. The title kind of suggests maybe that it'd be like a dark comedy. I don't think it's that funny. I think it's very poignant and relevant, and tackles difficult topics, and really shines a light on something that we don't like to talk about at a time at which we're kind of having a little bit of a tough time. Again, supporting our veterans in the best way, stripping sort of aid from veteran services, and this is maybe a case for why we shouldn't be doing that. So support your veterans, and check out My Dead Friend Zoey. This is, I guess, trigger warning for some people, but the whole film is just like it's like an important trigger warning. It's more like a red flare, I would say, because I'm not sure that it necessarily shows anything that is so you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it showed me that. It's more about making sure we have the conversation and using these actors as a vessel for that conversation. This is one of my favorite films of the year so far. I'm giving My Dead Friend Zoey an A. I'll remember this at the end of the year, and that's the point. So I hit all the beats. I liked all the beats here. So cool movie. And like a couple of the actors are all producers on it. I want to say Sonequa Martin Green, Natalie Morales, and Ed Harris are all producers on this movie. So they all believe in sort of like the message of what it is that they're sending out into the world. So anyway, if you get a chance to see this, please do. It'll probably go to Peacock because of that in conjunction with Universal thing from Briarcliffe. I always sort of wonder where Briarcliffe movies go because they don't always have a distribution deal, but this seems to be attached to Universal. So I'm going to guess Peacock, but you may have to rent it. You may have to track it down. You may have to do some legwork if you want to watch it. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.